This semester, we will be studying sociology, which is the interaction of humans to their environment. But before I summarize this chapter, I'd like to direct your attention to the student learning outcomes. These 5 outcomes are given to us by the state, and these are the kinds of activities that we will be doing throughout the semester. Every PowerPoint will have the student learning outcomes in the first slide. Today we're going to be talking about concepts that are central to sociology. I'm going to introduce 3 sociological theories that will be used throughout the semester, and I'm going to explain or answer why would people want to study sociology. Now we will be using the perspective of sociology, which is different than the perspective of, for example, psychology. Sociology is the study of humans and how we humans interact. And we will be using the sociological imagination, which is understanding who we are by looking at our place in history and our place in society. So, for example, we will be seeing the general and in the particular. So, for example, what that means is we will be looking at patterns. So, we will be looking as if we were looking at an ant hill where we see the ants actually forming and walking a certain way. They're forming a pattern. And so, we will be seeing how human beings actually also form patterns in our society. And what happens in our culture, though, is that sociological explanations tend to face a great deal of frustration and resistance because we tend to be more biased towards psychology. So looking at the world from the sociological perspective may be uncomfortable for some people, some students, but it's still important to be exposed and to be presented with this type of worldview. There are 3 theories in sociology that are fundamental to the discipline. There are many theories, of course, within the discipline. However, there are 3 that are fundamental, and I will be introducing them right now. Functionalism. Theorists who are functionalists, they see society's parts as working together to maintain the whole. So to understand this theory, I've put a bicycle as an example. So for example, in order for this bicycle to move, it needs the wheels, and it needs the pedals, and it needs the chain. It also needs the handles to be able to steer. So a functionalist basically sees everyone in a society being important to that society for it to be able to continue and to maintain stability and to maintain the status quo. This next theory is called conflict theory. And this usually is on the opposite end of functionalism. So conflict theorists see society's parts as being inherently unequal. And when you have this built-in inequality, it can cause conflict. And conflict is not necessarily a bad thing. Conflict can help us to not be complacent and to not be comfortable in societies that may be unequal or societies that are causing pain to some groups of people. So conflict can then lead to change. So an example of this conflict leading to change is in our historical society, there was a time where a group of people could own another group of individuals based on their color. And so, because and we're talking, of course, about slavery. So, when these groups of people decided that they no longer accepted society that way it was, it actually caused conflict, and that conflict led to change. Finally, the last theory is called symbolic interaction. This is where individuals understand their world by understanding the symbols that surround them. So, for example, we are surrounded with thousands and thousands of symbols in our everyday life. and our everyday interactions. And I've put an example here. Here we have a two hands that are bent, their fingers are bent. And if you look at it, we might say, well, that represents a heart, that could represent love. So the fingers in and of themselves being bent like this don't necessarily have meaning until humans place meaning on these fingers and they're being bent. And so symbolic interaction is they look at the one-on-one interactions of human beings and how they interpret their world. So why study sociology? Sociology is a great course for students to take because it teaches individuals to be critical thinkers. It teaches students not to accept easy explanations or easy blames. When we study sociology, we begin to understand the social structures that are built to create barriers for some individuals and to have opportunities for other individuals. And this can be a difficult thing to hear, especially when we live in a society that is biased towards psychology, where in psychology we may be told that people are successful or not because of innate or inborn qualifications or inborn characteristics. So through sociology, we see the world from other people's point of view. And by doing this, then we can create and become critical thinkers of social issues. Then why is sociology important for the workplace? It's very important because as students learn to be critical thinkers, they're able to transfer those skills to the private and public sector. They're able to apply the knowledge that they learn in a sociology course to a wide variety of working environments. And by being able to recognize that people's backgrounds may be a result of social structures, they may be able to exhibit greater compassion. Finally, the last slide basically explains why some of the activities that will be performed in the class. You will be doing discussions that will help you to connect to your classmates. And the reason is because of this. So from business management, they said that in the digital age, the number one challenge in the workplace is a deficiency in employee people skills. Those intangible personality traits like attitude, teamwork, communication, and problem solving. People used to learn these things naturally as a part of growing up, but those skills are disappearing as people communicate more via impersonal email, text, and social media. Soft skills are so vital in the workplace because they're the engine that drives people to use their technical or hard skills more effectively. Yet most people never get any training on these kinds of people skills. So this semester, we will not only learn sociology, but we will also learn some of the skills that can help us to be effective and great employees when we actually reach the workforce.